pattern that is triggered, broken, goes is how much momentum was behind that break. Okay? Now, I don't always feel, it depends on the setup, again, I don't always feel that I need a high breakout. In fact, sometimes when I'm trend following and the pattern is testing either the support or resistance of that trending pattern, if we break the pattern with a very low breakout, for example, a reversal of a downtrending pattern, if we were to rally up through resistance on a very low breakout, I might consider that there's actually exhaustion, not potential follow-through waiting at that break. So my recommendation is leave that breakout strength at 0 because it will also give you insight into the kind of momentum behind that pattern and whether or not there's a likelihood for exhaustion, a trend continuation, or a reversal. If I'm looking at triangle patterns, generally speaking, when they break out, I'd like to see a breakout, a fairly solid breakout reading. Maybe 5 bars or more. If I'm looking at a reversal of a trending pattern, I would like to see also a fairly strong breakout reading, telling me that there was momentum behind the downtrend line break or the uptrend line break. So keep the reading on 0, but make sure you understand what it is it's communicating to you and what the likelihood is for acceleration or a stall based upon that breakout reading. Okay, because it could give you a lot of insight into the potential for follow-through or the likelihood for exhaustion. So that brings us to the minimal overall quality, which we started off with, which is basically to say the culmination of clarity, uniformity, and initial trend will give you that. Did I skip over initial trend? Oh yeah, I did, didn't I? Let me get back up to initial trend. But the culmination of those 3 will yield a reading here. Okay? So again, you don't necessarily want to crank your overall quality higher because your initial trend can be very effectively setting up a trade at 0 as much as it could be setting up a trade at 10. Your initial trend indicator is your market trend or market phase indicator. We know that there are trending and non-trending patterns. So if I'm looking at a trending pattern, if I want to identify a trending environment, the degree to which the market is trending will also affect whether or not I expect continuation in a breakout, whether I expect support in an uptrend or resistance in a downtrend, or whether there's an increased likelihood for a reversal. Weaker trends have a higher likelihood of reversing. Okay, they also tend to exhaust at breakouts. All right, so consider what the strength of the underlying trend is before you set up your pattern, and also consider it in terms of your potential entry strategy. So again, you don't want to change this because what it is doing is indicating to you the strength or lack of strength of the trend. So a non-trending market, one that is not volatile, fairly narrow, and somewhat organized, would be a reading of basically up to 3 bars. Again, up to 3 bars. When you get 4 to 5 bars, now we're talking about a sideways market, non-trending again, but it now is yielding perhaps more volatility, a less predictable range, and a wider range. That's 4 and 5 bars. Okay? Momentum through trend line breaks and horizontal support and resistance breaks is usually higher when we're coming out of a narrow sideways range, up to 3 bars, right? Could I confirm the momentum with which the pattern is broken with the breakout reading? Absolutely. Absolutely. If I have 4 and 5 bars, oftentimes I will get exhaustion at the range highs and lows. Okay? anything 6 bars and above introduces the trend, a trend. 6 bars is the weakest reading for a trend, while 10 will be the strongest reading for a trend. So again, the trend reading is very specific to the individual chart pattern. Okay? Non-trending chart patterns, you want to see up to 3 bars if you're waiting for a breakout or breakdown. If you're trying to set up exhaustion within a wide range, you might see 4 or 5 bars. These are trending patterns, channels, wedges. You want to see a minimum of 6 bars. That's one way that you can filter out potential trades. It's also one way you can filter potential strategies. The expectation for follow-through, the expectation for reversal. An initial trend will give you a lot of insight into that, coupled with, when you have a completed pattern, the breakout reading. Okay? So again, now we're talking about that initial trend, using it as what? A market phase measuring tool or gauge, a market trend gauge. That initial trend is probably one of the most powerful, it's probably my favorite quality indicator, because trading chart patterns without understanding the underlying market trend really is just a recipe for setting yourself up for failure. Really, ignoring the market trend with any trading strategy, in my opinion, is setting yourself up for failure. Because if you're ignoring the market psychology, you're doing what you want to do, not what the market's telling you to do. Very different approach. Very different approach. All right, and then that brings us to the chart patterns themselves, which we actually have discussed in an earlier presentation this month. But now we're really discussing these chart pattern alerts within this understanding now of the advanced search criteria as you go about customizing your platform and asking yourself what it is that you will glean the most information from and therefore also develop the most confidence with. Okay, it's all about customizing this platform to your specifications so that the information that it is bringing you is actionable, will instill the confidence you need to act on it. Okay? So, again, now that you know what these all mean, some of the pitfalls to cranking them up too high, and also how to adjust them to perhaps better, give you a better, more focused list of completed and emerging patterns, you basically have some homework here in front of you. Okay? And that is to really honestly assess which pairs, which time frames, and what kind of alerts will better give you those patterns that you will visually look at and say, you know what, that pattern makes sense to me. It's something that I would have wanted to find if I was doing this manually, but thank you, Autochartist, for alerting me to this automatically, saving me the time. This is a presentation that I definitely recommend you review once it's posted at the Autochartist website. It's definitely one that we can revisit. And when we have our weekly discussions, we actually do factor in a lot of these quality indicators into the consideration of whether or not to take the trade. And now you can better understand also why, for example, that high initial trend reading is so vital to a trend following entry on a wedge or a channel, or why that low initial trend reading is so vital to a breakout or breakdown from a triangle, or why a weaker initial trend reading might indicate better a reversal, and why a low breakout reading at the time of reversal may then negate it. Okay? It's a number of considerations that you can make, that Autochartist is helping you make with these more objective tools. And in many ways, they're really measuring something that's incredibly subjective, which is the aesthetics of a pattern. Okay, but if you use your live charts coupled with these quality indicators, with this new focused list of chart patterns that you're going to develop on your own, you'll find yourself reacting quicker and better to the information that Autochartist is presenting you with. Okay? All right, so thank you very much for your time. This is a topic that I think is very important. Well, I'm sure we'll revisit it again. If you have requests for topics, please let us know. You can set that up. You can let us know, and we'll set that up based upon your input. You can send that over to tech support at autochartist.com. Again, our topic today was customization of the Autochartist platform, and we'll see you next week with a fresh new topic. I'm Raghee Horner. On behalf of Autochartist, I thank you for attending today's talk. Thanks for your time and your interest and your questions and your attention, and thank you most of all for being an Autochartist user. We're here to make sure that you get the most of the platform, so please join us every Friday. Check out the webinars, check out our daily commentary by our great team of writers, and best of luck with everything in the markets.